Thank you very much. I think if I didn't have that car, I think you're blocking a Range Rover Sport. I think you need to repark because that's wickedness. Yeah. I'm wearing agbada today because when you are big, you are big. Mm-hmm. I stand before you today, ladies and gentlemen, as what some people might see as what people might think as crude, but I'm proud to be black. I'm not ashamed to be black. I'm proud to be Africa. And I'm proud to have that name Blaq after my real name, Kehinde. So I'm proud to say I am KennyBlaq. And now, what is funny about being black? I'm KennyBlaq. I started comedy in 2008, and it's not been easy. I think I grew up watching likes of people. Thank you very much. I grew up watching the likes of Alibaba. I grew up watching the likes of Asha on TV. And I saw the fact that they have their own way of interpreting their brand. They have their own way of standing out. They have their own way of making a difference in their own unique way. As I story around everywhere, because she's African. She's not because she's in Switzerland, she's in America, she has to do a song for America. No, she's doing our popular she's doing our popular Bibanke Bojo Baro Fimisile. She's doing our popular Eya Adaba. Mr. Two-Face will go around the world as an African to sing As You See Me So, I no send you. Sing it around the world, and I watch these people doing their thing. And I said to myself, okay, what am I gonna do to be different from others? So in 2008, I was in my house. Somebody walked up to me and he was like, Kehinde. I said, sir. He said, Kehinde. I said, that's the third time. And you will ask me, Emilio Mokwe. He said, Kehinde, Emilio Mokwe. I said 3 times. He said, fine. You have what it takes to be a comedian. I said, I don't know, because I've always wanted to be a singer. I always want to come on stage and say, DJ, give me track 2. Or always come on stage with my band and we'll sing good songs, enjoy ourselves. But I'm always this person that would like to make jest of everything at home. I would like to pick humor from everything around me. So the man said to me, KennyBlaq. Okay, he said, Kehinde, why don't you try comedy? I said, I don't know what comedy is, but I watch people do comedy, but I don't think I have what it takes to be a comedian. And he said, you have what it takes. I said, if you say so. Then he invited me to a rally, and I was given the mic. And I was like the hype man then. I was going around, we're going around cities, going around everywhere. And what I was just doing was to advertise the program Miss Ejigbo and to add comic to it. So I was adding Yoruba, I was using my Igbo accent, I was using my Hausa accent, and everybody were laughing. I didn't even know I was the one they were laughing to. We were just laughing, that guy is good, that guy is good. And after that, they called me and they said, Kehinde, we're having an event. It's called Laughter Night Ejigbo. Now, we want you to perform. I said, I'm not feeling fine. They said, we want you to perform. I said, I'm not feeling fine. I said, I'm a very, very shy person. I don't know how to face crowd. I said, no, you can do this. And they said, okay, let's think of a name. I said, okay. They said, go home, think of a name and come back. And I was thinking, different types of names were coming to my mind. Names like The Boy Don't Spoil, for no reason. For no reason, The Boy Don't Spoil. Who spoiled me? I don't know. I was just thinking of names. I even wanted to be a blacksmith. I was like, what? For what now? For what now? And I was thinking of a name that I would be able to explain easily. You don't even need to come to me to ask me why are you bearing KennyBlaq. So I stick to the name KennyBlaq. And I went to that person and I'm like, oh, I don't even know what name. And the man said, let's use KennyBlaq. And I'm like, you follow me, Sleep House. He said, no. I said, KennyBlaq. I said, that was the same name I thought of. And he was like, okay, no problem. So I beat KennyBlaq, Kenny Black. And I went on stage for the first time. Ladies and gentlemen, I was on stage as a clown. I used to wear this big stomach, paint my face, wear different colors of shoes. And I went on stage and I was shaking. Get one guy. And people were laughing. They said, this guy is hilarious. I said, hey. So I added more to the shaking. He get one guy. Oh. And I was cracking that. People were laughing. This guy is good. And I came back and somebody asked me, how long have you been doing this? I said, this is my first time. He said, you're a liar. I said, I know. He said, I said, I know. He said, wow, you've been doing this for how many years? I said, this is my first time. He said, no, you have what it takes. So they started recommending me for events. I was anchored children party, and I was highly paid. They paid me a huge amount of 500 naira, ladies and gentlemen. with an advance of 250. So they'll give me 250 naira, and I will go and call the event. I was like, is he the winner? No. Is he the winner? Children will insult me. Uncle, shut up. Children will insult me. Uncle, keep quiet. And that time, there was one word winning in secondary school, Ogbe. Children would just look at me like, and I will be like, is it the winner? One uncle was that guy. You're like, Ogbe. Oh. So I started going that event, and 2008, 2009, I was doing more of children parties, doing more of children shows, doing more. And my parents were like, KennyBlaq, comedy, and walawa dani. Because my parents felt like, okay, the industry is an industry where you come and everybody would do the same. They saw people doing tattoos, doing earrings, some were sagging, and my parents felt like, okay, this is the same thing, this is what is trending. So if you are going into this is the same thing you would do. And I said to my parents, I told them one thing, I didn't even know where it came from. I said, I'm going to make a difference. They said, how? I said, watch me. So instead of wearing earrings, instead of them doing big boy, I stick to my brand. I was just going and calling events, doing events. I was not smoking, I was not drinking till now. I don't take anything. Even when I want to get high, I take high modes. So I was just going around doing stuff. My parents were looking at me. Okay, no problem. So there were times where I would collect 1,000 naira and I would come back home and mom like Shoti Jeng. I said yes. But when I said, hey, that's good. So I graduated from the days of take 200 naira, go and eat. Take 100 naira, go and eat. There's no money today. Take 200 naira. You and Taiwo share it. Take it 100 naira. My Taiwo is like the guy of me. I'm the female version. So she might take 150 and I'll give me 50 naira. You get off on 1 year. And I won't ask her. So I graduated to the point of using. In fact, I will come home one day and I would just buy things. After the event, I'll buy things, put them in the fridge. And my mom would like, who did this? I said, ma, yeah. He said, what? I said, yeah. He said, where did you get the money? I said, the event I did yesterday. And my dad was like, are you having any event tomorrow? I said, no. I said, no problem. It was not like they could not afford it, but they saw the fact that I'm already standing up for myself. I'm already taking responsibilities for myself. I started buying notebooks for myself. I started buying my jam. I wrote jam with my own money. I bought my bumper with my money, and my parents were like, wow, that was good. And my dad said to me, Kehinde, so what's your stage name? I said, KennyBlaq. He said, your name is Otolorin Kehinde Peter. Because my dad is a celestial member. And in Celestial Church, they don't like black and red. So my dad was like, how can you be a KennyBlaq? How can I tell them in church, oh, come on, KennyBlaq, I like by Joe. My dad was like, no, you can't be wearing KennyBlaq. Kehinde Otolorin Peter is your name. Ladies and gentlemen, I went to Calabar Festival 2010, and after performing, I was given a check of close to 150. And my dad saw me and he was like, KennyBlaq. KennyBlaq, nice name. And for the first time, my mom changed her name to Eunice Blaq. And my dad went to church that Sunday and he was like, Moses, he said, no, Moses Blaq. And things started changing. But along the line, I was growing up, I had challenges because of my height, because of my age, because I was too small. People intended to judge the book by the cover. So when they see me, they're like, excuse me, are you a comedian? I said, yes. They said, no. You must be from the children department. I said, no. So with tears in my eyes, I would go to events and they say, no, you're too young to go on this stage. You're too young to do this. You're too young to do that. So they call me, even when they want to give me platforms, they call me when nobody is on seat, maybe like 4 people. So they just use me to sound check the mic. So when I'm cracking joke, you get one guy, somebody will be going, chew. You get one guy, they go, chew. So even when I had too many crowd to perform for. But because I was doing the normal comedy, I might crack a joke and somebody might tell you, I might do something like, okay, you get one guy and somebody will reply, you must he be a guy? Why no he be girl? And on stage, I'm confused. I don't know what to say again. So I decided to add music to it. I watched the likes of music comedians like Ali Baba did music comedy back in the 80s. I was privileged to watch the clip. And I watched Maleke do music comedy. And somebody inspired me a lot, Julius Agu. He had a band. He would crack jokes. He would sing. He would crack jokes. He would sing. And I've always wanted to be a singer. I don't know how comedy came in. I wanted to be a singer. So I said to myself, okay, no problem. When I listen to songs at home, I always try to do my own version. And somebody said, try and do this one on stage now. I said, okay. So I went on stage and I started doing songs that people know in my own way. For example, when you hear songs like, after the reggae, play the blues, the blues, the blues. I try to do the Igbo version. Like, after the reggae, play the blues, chineke. Make you do it, make you do as I do. Oh, your ma, enjoy yourself, baby boy. Hallelujah, even your boy, get a boy. So I'll do my versions of songs. I couldn't wait for a song to come out then. I want to do my version. When Adele came with Hello, I did the version. I did Pasuma version of Hello, it's me. I was wondering if after all these years you like to meet. I did a Yoruba version because sometimes I appeal to the Yoruba people too. And Pasuma came and it was like, hello, a mini. Shebi California ni mo wai. Timothy Shere Fujo. Oda no, hello from the other side. Jibola, I say how? So people saw that, I think this is new. At the same time, it was not new because we had music comedians. But the fact that I could use my voice to interpret my craft made me different. Differentiated me from other comedians. So when you go on stage and there are like 50 comedians, you can easily say there is a comedian that sang. I was in London for Julius Ago's event and I laughed with MC Abe. And I was performing. And after the event, they wrote performances by this, by that, and especially the guy with the unique voice. So immediately I saw myself standing out. I saw myself making a difference. Now I went back home. I went to my street, and I saw those who saw me then. I were saying, comedy. They won't go far. It's just comedy. And I saw my friends. My friends who used to roll together. My friends who used to move together. My friends who used to play games together. And they were still there. But I was ahead of them. I was using what I have to get to where I wanted to be. I was moving, and they were all looking at me. They would always come to me, Kenny, have fun now. I see 200 for you, and I give them 200. Have fun now. KennyBlaq, I see 15 naira for you, and I give them 100 naira. Today, they are like, bros, those people that were saying, they're like telling me, Kenny, how can I be a better person? I became a mentor to my elder brothers in Lagos. Not my biological elder brothers. People I look in the street and I say, Egbon, Afa. I became a mentor to them. They always come to me, Kenny, how can I do this? How can I do that? And I said to myself, okay, I think all eyes on me right now. People I look up to are not looking up to me because they did not stand up for themselves. They were still waiting for people to discover them. They were still waiting for somebody to give them 50 million naira. They were still, when you smoke and when you smoke, you start developing then many things. You just like, I might just hit 200 million for grand. Who won't forget them? So those were the mentalities there. People were just thinking of different things. Somebody might just sleep now and wake up and like, Kini Majela, right? Did you work yesterday? So I was working, I was gathering water, I was gathering my craft, I was doing them. And I said to myself, okay, what can I do to also affect my community? I started a campaign called Making a Difference. Well, I'll bring friends together, I'll bring colleagues together in Ejigbo. I'll bring them together. Okay, let's come together. You buy tickets for the event, watch your favorite comedians, and we take the money to the motherless baby home. I saw people, and when I saw them, I was like, what if I had no father? What if I had no mother? What if I had no one to believe in me? So I said to myself, I can make a difference, a positive difference. Right now in my industry, even my colleagues respect me. Even my colleagues say, guy, you are going far. I have met all the comedians I thought I was going to meet maybe after 50 years. All of them come to me. Ali Baba called me. Ali Baba calls me my son. AY calls me my son. Why? Because I believed in myself from day one. I believe in the fact that I am not too young to make a difference. I believe in the fact that I am not too young to start something. So I look at people when they say, okay, I want to be something, and I need to wait for, I think it's not yet time. It is your time. Rapture is near. Do what you have to do now, so that your children can say, that was my father. So this is TEDxIkeja, and I know my son, my daughter would watch this video one day and say, that is my father. So your father can say, yes, I am proud of my father any day, anytime. All I want to do with my talent is to inspire someone and let you know that you can be whatever you want to be without carrying guns. You can be whatever you want to be without standing at the junction. Like, how much for a night? You can be whatever you want to be without doing Yahoo. You can be whatever you want to be. Because there is something in you that is different from every other person. I've discovered mine, which is music comedy. As young as I am, I've won a lot of awards for myself. As young as I am, I'm the CEO of Unique Made Entertainment. As young as I am, I have a music studio of my own where I bring people, inspire people to come do tracks. Ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to be black. Whatever is funny about being black is positive. I am Otolorin Kehinde Peter. I am KennyBlaq. Now, many people want to ask, why? What's funny? What's funny about Kenny? What's funny about being Kenny? How do you do this? It's not been easy getting the songs, getting the stories. Now, make sure that the story is syncing with the song. Make sure that the song is telling a story. Ladies and gentlemen, let me give you an example. Have you ever imagined Grammy Awards happening in Nigeria and you call somebody like Michael Bolton to come? And he said, okay, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to make welcome Michael Bolton to do When a Man Loves a Woman remix. And he wants to pick someone who can sing. And he picks King Wasiwa in When a Man Loves a Woman. You might think it might be crazy. So Michael Bolton might come here and I'm like, ladies and gentlemen, I've got my man from Ibadan. This man has faced challenges. He used to stay in challenge. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for my man, King Wasiwa and we together will do When a Man Loves a Woman. And Michael Bolton comes. When a man loves a woman, he can think of nothing else. He shared the world for the good dance is done. King Wasiwa answers. Tobi ni bala komeji oda shewo. Tobala ya meji siyaniye o siyaniye. Yasin, 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 yasin. So whatever you want to do, make a difference. And let me remember you for something. If you remember me today, the only speaker that sang, my name is KennyBlaq.